For activity 2, we have to take 100 ml of water in a beaker and we have to add small quantity of sodium sulfate to it. We have to dissolve small quantity of sodium sulfate so that it becomes sodium sulfate solution. Next, we have to take another beaker and in that beaker, let us take 100 ml of water and in that we need to dissolve small quantity of barium chloride. Next, then we have to mix these two solutions. These two solutions are colorless. When we add barium chloride or sodium sulfate to barium chloride solution, we can observe that a white precipitate is forming. That precipitate is insoluble in that solution. So it is an insoluble substance is forming. So that insoluble substance is called precipitate. And the product will be sodium sulfate is reacting with barium chloride and we are getting 2NaCl plus BaSO4. Here you can see that these two constituent parts have been displaced. That means Cl comes to sodium and SO4 goes for Ba and it becomes BaSO4 and NaCl. That means two things have changed their places. That's why we will call this as double displacement reaction. So this is a double displacement reaction. So in this we have observed that when a chemical change occurs, a precipitate forms. Next, activity number 3. In activity number 3, we have to take few zinc granules in a conical flask. Few zinc granules, small tiny particles of zinc granules in conical flask. Next, we need to add 5 ml of dilute HCl to it. 5 ml of dilute HCl. When we add 5 ml of dilute HCl, we can observe that some bubbles are forming and a gas is evolving. For testing that gas, we need to bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of that conical flask. So when we bring near the mouth of that conical flask, the matchstick puts off by producing pop sound. That indicates that the gas which is evolving is a hydrogen gas. And the reaction will be like this. So Zn is reacting with HCl, give rise to ZnCl2 plus H2. This is a gas. And when you touch the bottom of that conical flask, you can feel hot. That means the reaction, during a reaction, heat energy is liberating. When heat energy is liberated, that reaction we call it as exothermic reaction. So this is an exothermic reaction. If a chemical reaction has taken place, we can say that the first point to remember is the original substance. The original substance will lose its characteristics properties. So original substance lose its characteristics properties. And the new substance formed will be of different state, different physical state or different color. Next indication will be during a chemical reaction, heat may be evolved or heat may be absorbed. If heat is gained by the substances, then we can call it as endothermic reaction. If during a chemical reaction heat is released, then we call it as exothermic reaction. Third indicator will be during a chemical reaction, an insoluble substance may form. That insoluble substance, we call it as precipitate. So precipitate can form. And the fourth point will be gas may evolve. If a reaction has taken place, some gas will release. So gas may evolve. So these are the four indicators. By saying these things, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. Next is chemical equation. So for writing a chemical equation, suppose in activity 1 we have said that calcium oxide reacts with water to form calcium hydroxide, which is totally different from calcium oxide and water. And if we are writing a chemical equation like this, it is quite lengthy. So to make it short, we can use their words, word equation. So like this, calcium oxide plus water give rise to calcium hydroxide. The substance which undergo a chemical change, we call it as reactants. And the substance which are forming as an end product, the substance which is the final product, final substance during a chemical reaction, we call it as product. We write the reactants on the left side and the products on the right side, and we write an arrow indicating the direction of the reaction. The arrow, the head point of the arrow indicates will always face towards the product. Next, if the reactants are more than one, if there are more reactants or more products, then we will put a plus sign between them. Can we write this chemical equation in more shorter way? Yes, we can write this chemical equation in a shorter way by using chemical formulas, or we can write the symbols for the elements to make it short. So let us see. The chemical formula for water is H2O. For calcium oxide is calcium oxide is CaO, and for calcium hydroxide we will use CaOH taken twice. Then the equation will be like this: CaO plus H2O give rise to CaOH taken twice. If we calculate the number of atoms, suppose this is calcium, so the atom, there is only one atom of calcium, and on the product side it is one atom, H2, oxygen 2. Here also O and H both are 2. That means the number of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side both are equal. Balancing a chemical equation. For balancing a chemical equation, let us take two examples. Suppose Zn plus HCl give rise to ZnCl2 plus H2. Now let us count the number of atoms on reactant side and product side. Zn 1, 1, H 1, 2 and Cl 1, 2. So the number of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side both are not equal. Next, let us take another example. Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 give rise to NaCl, 2NaCl plus BaSO4. Let us see the number of atoms. Na 2 NAs are there and here also 2. SO4 1, SO4 1, Ba1 and Ba1, Cl2 2 Cl. So it is number of atoms on both sides are equal. So we need to balance a chemical equation. Whenever we see a chemical equation, we have to check whether it is balanced or not. Why we have to balance? All the chemical equations have to be balanced. Why? Because according to law of conservation of mass, the number of atoms on the reactant side and the number of atoms on the product side must have to be equal. The mass of the reactants before the reaction and the mass of the product after the reaction must have to be same. Why? Because during a chemical reaction, not a single atom is destroyed nor a single atom is created. So that's why the chemical equation has to be balanced. The mass of the substance is just because of the atoms. So we need to find the number of atoms are present on the reactant side and on the product side. Next is formula unit. Formula unit means, suppose this is a formula unit. HCl is a formula unit. Suppose there is NaCl. So this is a one formula unit of salt. So how many Na plus ions are there? So one Na plus and one Cl minus ions are there. Next, first thing is, to balance a chemical equation, we have to know the formula unit. To check the formula unit, to check whether it is correct or not, we have to check its constituent element. That means whether it is an ion, then how many ions are there? Whether it is atom, so how many atoms are there? Or a molecule. So we have to check ion, molecule or atom to check whether chemical for formula unit. If we know the formula units, then we can balance the chemical equation. Balancing a chemical equation by systematic method. Let us see an example. Hydrogen reacting with oxygen to give water. So let us see in step 1. We will write the chemical formula of hydrogen, oxygen and water. So we will get like this. Hydrogen, for hydrogen it is H2, for oxygen it is O2, give rise to H2O. Next, in step 2. In step 2, we need to check the ratios of each atom. Hydrogen it is 2 and on reactant side it is also 2 and here it is O is 2 and here it is 1. Then next we will write these ratios. Number of atoms on LHS and RHS. So hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen. So here will be element. How many hydrogens are there in LHS? 2. And on reactant side it is 2. Oxygen 2. And on RHS it is 1. We need to balance this. To balance this, we have to add the coefficient for the chemical formula of each of this. So wherever necessary it is there, we need to put a coefficient. Suppose if I want to balance here, so how many oxygens are here? 2, and here it is 1. So I will put like hydrogen plus O2 give rise to 2H2O. Next it is here 2 2s are 4, 4 hydrogen, and here it is 2. To make it 4, we need to put 2 in front of this H2. So 2H2 plus O2 give rise to 2H2O. Now if we check this, it is balanced. How many hydrogens are there? 4. How many oxygens are there? 2. So 2 2s are 4 hydrogen and 2 oxygen. So that means this chemical equation is balanced. And the coefficients, we have to check the coefficients. If the coefficients are the smallest whole numbers, suppose here it is the smallest whole number and there is no common factor among this. This is 2, 1 and 2. So there is no common factor that can be cancelled or that can be divided. If there is another number, suppose it is 4, 2, 4, then we can have the common factor as 2. Then we can divide this whole equation by 2. Here it is not that type. So that means we don't need to divide this. So this is our final answer. So after getting this, we need to check the number of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side. If the number of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side are equal, then we can say that the chemical equation is balanced.